Guys, I want to get started with another drone tutorial. Here are 5 tips that will instantly make your drone videos look much more amazing. Sounds good? Let's get started.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boy.
There are some amazing things that you can capture with a drone that you just can't capture with any other camera. But the basics of filming with a drone and filming with any other camera and making it look good is the same. So we're going to go over a couple of things that any filmmaker and any photographer would usually think about and try to apply it to filming with a drone. So without getting into advanced app settings or learning complicated maneuvers that could possibly crash your drone, you can create amazing drone videos with just some of these basic photography and videography ideas. I'm going to mainly be using drone videos that I shot from my last Utah medical trip. One about using these drone videos from this trip was I didn't have a lot of time to shoot, if any time at all, for a couple reasons. I had a tight schedule meeting with my doctors, and there were a couple of snowstorms that weekend. So there are a lot of constraints. Also, just to show you how effective some of these concepts can be in making your drone footage look great. Most of these videos are just straight flying forwards and backwards, which I said is probably the boringest kind of drone videos because it's just so easy to do and everybody does it. But just by applying these simple ideas, you can make your drone footage look great. Let's talk about time of day. Just like most beginners, I thought that the secret to shooting better photos and better videos depended on the equipment that I had. But the most important aspect is lighting. When you're shooting a drone, you only have the sun, the natural light. You don't have other equipments or flashes or reflectors that you can use. You just work with the sun. So time of day is very important because the time of day determines what kind of light you have. Shooting during #golden hour, which is basically sunset or sunrise, will get you the best lighting. The lighting is soft, it looks beautiful, there's a lot of colors in the sky, and especially during sunset, I personally think it looks a little bit better. Also, just golden hour in the morning just doesn't last as long as the golden hour during sunset. So if you just plan to shoot during sunrise or sunset, your drone videos will look a ton better than shooting during midday. The lighting is also pretty good during blue hour, which is the time just before sunrise or the time just after sunset, where the golden rays of the sun is gone, but it's still light outside. If it's kind of cloudy and there's cloud cover during the daytime, that will soften up the bright sunlight to give you decent light also for your video. The worst one is just during midday bright sunlight, and if you can avoid it, please avoid it. What goes hand in hand with lighting is location. This is why travel photographers and travel bloggers go through so much work and so much hassle traveling to amazing places just to get good shots. Because if you're just in a suburb or a parking lot, your video just isn't going to look that interesting or that good. You want to do location scouting and only fly a drone in places that lends itself to great aerial videography and photography. So a trick to location scouting that has saved me a ton of time has been using Google Maps. Instead of actually getting in my car and fighting LA traffic, or like going to Utah, it's a place that I know pretty well, but I don't know every street and every canyon that's out there. Google Maps is amazingly helpful. Especially if you turn on the 3D topography, you can kind of get a sense of whether some place is flat or if there are interesting hills that you can film in, or even just roads. If you're driving somewhere, you want to make sure there are interesting places and safe places that you can stop and park on the side of the road. So you can find out all of that using Google Maps. Also, using the Street View feature for Google Maps, you can actually take the drive through a canyon or along a beach, and you can already see if there's any interesting features. So by the time you actually get out there to fly your drone, you'll exactly know where you want to shoot, which is great because we all know drones have a very limited battery life. So you don't want to start searching for cool spots to film after you've launched your drone in the sky. Let's talk about flying low and flying close to objects. This may take a little bit of skill just to make sure you don't crash, but if you're in an open area, you can do this just fine. The main idea here is when you're flying a drone, you want to give people a sense of speed, like they're moving through space, like you're there, like they're actually flying. And the way to do that is you need something for your drone to look like it's flying by or flying near, so that you get that sense of speed when you have things whooshing by. To do that, you have to get closer to an object. So when you're flying low, you're flying closer to the ground, which allows the ground to whiz by and give you that sense of speed. A different way to give a sense of motion and speed is you can also fly past something, a tree, or in this case, a flagpole. The final version of this is flying through something. So you have a row of trees, or if you have a big arch, you can fly the drone through there and it'll give you that sense of motion too. Flying slow and controlled. So most movies look more cinematic because their movements are steady. What that means when you're flying a drone is you want to fly slow and controlled. Most movies, when they're flying aerial shots, they're using a helicopter, which is very big and very powerful or very stable. So you want to try to mimic that with your drone. And to do that, you just don't make any sudden movements, to keep the movements at a constant speed. No matter which direction you're flying in, or even if you're doing an orbit, just make sure your speed is constant. And if you're trying to accelerate or decelerate, just do it very, very slowly so it's not noticeable. In this example at the end here, the orbiting just got very choppy and it just doesn't seem as steady and as professional as the rest of the clip. This one, just moving the camera all over the place, and you just can't use any of this footage at all. So again, it's a waste of memory, and more importantly, it's a waste of battery life for your drone. All this footage could have been usable if I just kept the camera steady and moved at a constant slow pace. The last one, keep rolling. This is something I learned very early on using DSLRs to film weddings. You want to keep the video rolling for several reasons. And a lot of the best scenes that I missed out on was right after I pressed the stop button and something cool happened and I missed it. So you want to keep the video going, and that's the same thing for flying with the drone. You always want more footage that you can edit down instead of not having enough footage. Like I was saying, there was several snowstorms this weekend, so when I was flying this drone, there was a lot of wind going on, and look at how shaky. So the wind was definitely pushing the drone around a lot, and I kept recording, and finally there was this nice steady couple of seconds that was usable and it looked great. So you want to keep recording so you capture something usable within that time. And another benefit of filming longer is you'll be able to do time lapses like this one. This clip here is actually 1 minute and 40 seconds long. So for that whole minute and 40 seconds, I was keeping the drone flying at a constant speed. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful. Remember to hit the subscribe button and leave your questions and comments below. Also hit me up on Instagram at @jeffreyland_. That's where I'm most active, and I would just love to hear from you guys and get to know you guys better.